Let's go to the University of Waterloo. Anabela Bonada joins us now, managing director, climate science at the Intact Center on Climate Adaptation at Waterloo. Good morning.
Good morning, Hal.
Any sense how bad it might be? This is already bad here in our province, in our city, and in our province with wildfires and grass fires, and it's dry. And I mean, we are going to see some moisture in the forecast soon, later on this week, heading into the long weekend. But this has to be concerning, especially because we're talking like this so early.
Yeah, so just hearing right now what your weather is like, you have a heat wave happening in May. You know, that's not that common. It's quite early for the season, and it's right when wildfire season starts. So, you know, not a great conditions. Those strong winds are great at spreading wildfire. So even if ignitions do occur and they're small, it's those windy, dry conditions that are quite dangerous and can spread those wildfires. So just a reminder to everyone, like, don't start a fire if you don't need to. If there's a ban, respect it, because the conditions are kind of perfect for wildfires to start and spread.
And this is sort of the new normal, right?
Exactly. So we're kind of getting rid of that phrase now because it just is our conditions going forward. So the last 10 years and even the last 5 have seen the worst wildfire seasons in Canada. So when we look back in time, we just didn't have the wildfire seasons that we have now, back in the last 30 years, and, you know, it's due for different reasons, but of course, climate change is having a big influence. So we're having drier climate. So for example, right now, about half of Manitoba is considered abnormally dry. So half of your province, a little bit more than half, is abnormally dry at this point. That's not very good for wildfire whatsoever. You're not having a lot of precipitation come through. You're having less snow happen in the winter, so that snow can't melt slowly and replenish the ground and try to stave off those wildfires. So conditions are like this now. If we don't make any change to our lifestyle, this is what we're looking at for the next few years.
The name of your center, the Intact Center on Climate Adaptation, how do we adapt for this?
So there are lots of things that we can do. That's really the message from our center. So 2 different ways to adapt. One would be the actual wildfire management part. So what people can do, in communities to adapt to wildfire. So have some fire breaks implemented, remove vegetation that's dry, have fire-resistant vegetation around the community. Make sure you have safe egress routes. Make sure you know where you have to go if you do have to evacuate. But then there's a lot that can be done at the home level. So the Fire Smart program is excellent for that. People can, for example, just start by removing any sort of flammable material up to 1.5 meters from their home. Don't have anything around that area that could light up. So, for example, like mulching, you want to get rid of that and have some soil there, for example. So just easy measures that can be implemented today to protect your home.
Is government ready for this? You know, I look at what happened in California with those incredible fires there and all the overgrowth that only made matters worse. I look at ditches even in the city of Winnipeg that aren't mowed properly, in my opinion. Then we get conditions like this. Are governments at whatever level, are they doing enough to prepare for the change in our climate and the effects these tinder dry conditions?
Yeah, and the answer is complicated because yes and no. So there aren't enough resources for just the amount of risk that we have in the system. That's why it takes a whole society approach. Municipal governments are kind of strained. They don't receive that much funding. They don't receive that much education material to be able to implement some of these changes that we're talking about. That's why we do like to say, homeowners, residents, they have to put in as well, do as much as you can around your own property. But businesses too, industry should get involved, also help educate the community, hold events. If everybody doesn't do something to lower risk, the risk will remain in the system, and it's a bit too much to ask of our municipalities. Provincial governments and the federal government have been investing quite a bit on wildfire resilience since 2023. It was that intense year that we all remember, wildfire across the country. So there's a lot more funding towards training firefighters, towards firefighting equipment. But that's not enough for us to really stop these major impacts. We all need to do something about it.
Anabela, thanks for your time.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Anabela Bonada, Managing Director, Climate Science at the INTEC Center on Climate Adaptation at the University of Waterloo.